it is a new day, and just like what I can say, like Twitter killed the newspaper. You know, I think like that's what Malcolm is going at. That you can lead with yourself on social media and make sure that that reaches the people it's supposed to reach. And I think that, like everything, it needs an investment. Yes, not everybody is got reach or 10 million, you know, followers to make sure that the minute they send out a tweet or a video, everybody's watching. But I think that's why that's where a big part of like the sponsored posts come into play. You know what I'm saying? I think that yes, you must package it properly, you know, and make sure that it doesn't look tacky. But that's how the unknown guy also gets his reach out there so that he can compete, you know, with guys that are established. So you have to push a little, give a little, lead through social media. And generally, you know, to be honest with you, everyone that works on TV is always trying to find out what's happening on the streets. So if you're running the streets, you know, they definitely going to get a hold of you.
Sorry, I actually just realized something. Yeah, you can get onto MTV Base, you can get onto Trace, you can do all of that sort of stuff, but the only way that you're going to do it is the way that Catherine was talking about. Tell your story. Like, make a music video, pull the favors, put a decent production value together, get a music video that you're happy to put out on YouTube, and tell a story. Because at the end of the day, if you've got something valid to say, if you're talking about what's happening on the streets, the TV channels are going to pick it up. But there's a big barrier into entry. There's like, do you have a label? Who's collecting this? Like, there's all of that sort of stuff. But if you've got a decent product and you go knocking on those doors, and literally go knock on those doors the same way you do with event promoters, take your video in and go, I've made this. Tell me what you think. And sit and wait until they say, like, yeah, I don't want to watch it. Okay, okay, I've watched it. Yeah, it's good. I'm going to put it on. Persevere, push hard. Don't take no for an answer, because if you believe in what you believe in, and you believe in the product you're putting out there, other people will see it too.
Sorry, I must say also, G, it's, you know, people, like, sometimes don't get it. Even when you're an established act, you have to fight for everything. You know, you have to fight for airplay. You have to fight for whatever, for your video to be played, because now yours must be on before the other guys is on, and you've been waiting 2 weeks and haven't played it. But literally everything is a fight. For some reason, people think it gets easier. It doesn't really get easier. And people change every day in these positions as well. So every day you got to find out who's the new guy working there, what's his story, and he's also coming with his crew like everybody else, you know. But to invest in a small PR team if you can, even if it's just guys that you're coming up with, you know, who have similar interests, that does also help. But it never gets easier, and it's constantly about knocking. As Shugasmakx, I still have to face rejection at times and say, no, they don't want to play this because they don't feel this is the format of this station, and they don't want to play it, but then that guy's going to play it, and then this one's going to play it. I've had songs, whether it was myself or Squatter Camp or any artist we've released, that they've never played on radio, but yet they still relate to the people, and they blow up, you know. But that's because if we believe, we don't care if that guy isn't going to play it. We want to make sure the next guy plays it. And community radio stations are huge, even in television, radio, and whatever. Metro won't play it, it's fine. You know, let's go to all the other little guys that will play it. And all of a sudden, even though nobody's heard you on mainstream radio, everyone in the country knows your song in every little community. So use whatever angle is available, and it doesn't always have to be the big, shiny stuff, you know?
So I know you asked about TV and getting onto TV, but obviously radio is my thing. And I feel like I just need to touch on radio because I've always been so passionate about getting artists on radio. And I think it made me really sad that at a station that was built on music, I felt like I was one person that was fighting for local music. And if I can tell you, I fought screaming matches for local music. It was a huge thing for me. I believed in artists and I fought for them. Sadly, where it comes to these so-called music stations, there are very few presenters that are truly, truly passionate about music. And that's one of the reasons that I left. I mean, there's numerous reasons, which will be a whole different panel discussion. But the thing is that you do have to do your research beforehand. You do have to either look at the website. A lot of the bigger stations will have how you can submit your music. They'll give you the email address. You have to, and I'm not talking about sending it to them 5 times a day. You send it to them, you wait a few days, or you wait a week, and you send it again. Don't get discouraged if they say to you, we had a listen to your song, and we don't feel it was the right track, or whatever the case is. Ask them if you can submit it again. Submit it like 3 times. Then try and move on to your next track. Listen to the radio stations that you are submitting to. If you are if you are a heavy metal band, you are not going to submit your track to Metro FM. They don't play heavy metal. Research who is on the different shows. What are they doing? So Fresh, when he was on 5, we used to have a new music slot. Those are the sort of things that you need to be submitting to the producer of the show. Find out who is the producer, what is their email address, get it to them. Community radio stations, phone them. Who do I send my songs to? You actually have to do research. It's not, you're going to have to sit on Twitter, look at the different radio stations, who are the different presenters, etc., etc. There's a lot of work that actually goes into it. Send one track, an MP3, okay, so that they can listen to it, under 5 megabytes. So there's no firewall that's blocking the track. One track. Don't send them 10. Don't send them your whole EP. They don't have time to sit there and listen to every single track to decide which is your single. Go in there forcefully. This is my single. Send them that one track with a little bit about yourself and your contact details. It's very important. You can send them YouTube links, obviously, because if they've got the time, they can look at it. But really, very important, decide on what single you have, stick with it, and send them that, an MP3. I left commercial radio because I felt people weren't passionate about what radio is. Radio is the most personal, yet anonymous form of medium in the entire world, because we can all be listening to it together, but you are alone in your bedroom, in your car. You can call in. Nobody knows who you are. You talk about stuff that you would never talk about in a group discussion. Okay? And I felt like we'd lost stories. It's all about Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, what celebs are doing this, a.k.a. Bonang, blah, blah, blah. There was nothing that I felt was substantial anymore. And so my friend John Savage, who's actually over here, he started the internet radio station. It is not, in a sense, difficult to start an internet radio station, but you do have to do your research in terms of the music that gets played. People cannot download that music because it doesn't belong to you. It doesn't matter if you bought it off iTunes. It still doesn't belong to you, okay? The reality is, in this day and age, we've got lots of different mediums that we can use as radio. You've got WhatsApp. You've got, I used to teach at Boston. I taught radio. One of my students, she started a thing called Insta Radio. She would ask a question, filming herself, about something that was a topic that was important to her as a single female mom. And she asked it as an Insta Radio question. So it was, for her, it was radio. She asked it on Instagram. And that became her form of radio. You can do a lot of different things in this day and age. It's a different way of doing it. The reality is, radio, you can do anything you like. Go and find a mug and bean and pay for the coffee and then upload your stuff with the free Wi-Fi. Do your research. No, I'm serious. It's all about research. And don't get despondent. Your track might not work for one station. It might work for another station.
Troubles I come across within like the come up is getting other artists who are on the same pedestal as me to like collaborate and like work. Some people have like a huge ego. They probably wouldn't want to like work with you because you don't have so and so Instagram followers, or you're not booming there or this and that. But like, I think that's like the hugest problem I come across. Everything else is, yeah.
All right, thank you, guys. I'm going to take one more question before we enter the healing process or the learning process. I'm going to take one more question. Do I have any question from anyone? Myth, let's go. It's M-Y-T-H, not M-E-T-H. Come on the mic.
Where's the toilet, dog? Alright, I'm kidding. But thanks. I was wondering, okay, for a young guy like me, right? I'm actually a student. I'm a full-time student, and I'm doing music as a, you know what I mean, on the other side. But it's actually what I want to do. But because, you know, I have parents and I live with them, it's kind of hard to pursue it because, you know, they're all about, you know, get your qualification and stuff. And I just wanted to know, like, is it possible for one to actually find a balance, you know, between pushing a music career and pushing studies at the same time? And actually, you know, succeed in both. And
well, I'll say, you know, it's on the one side, school is very important. You know, so it's very important for people to finish school, especially if your parents have been saving for 18 years, you know, for you to finish school, and they've worked hard and they wake up every day for you. I think, like, you owe them that, but it doesn't mean that you cannot be committed to school and to your music at the same time. The advantage about starting music at a healthy age, whereby you're still under your parents' roof, is that I think that's the time you should be working the hardest on your music, because your food is taken care of, your shelter is taken care of, and you can get your career to start moving, you know, while you don't have pressures of being a father or having to pay rent or all of those things. So appreciate the positive side of it, that look on the bright side, that, okay, I've got a home, I've got food, I've got shelter. So now I can push my passion in peace, you know. So commit yourself to your studies and commit yourself to your music. It is possible to do more than just one thing. And if you are already, like, I know you are studying music, you know, then it's even better, you know, because you can use that time at school, you know, perfecting your own art. So you're probably in one of the better spaces, you know, and that I think it can all be done, but don't let one suffer, you know. Unfortunately, at times, yes, I didn't finish my studies, you know, because I chose the music, you know. But I think I was so passionate about it that everything I was studying, you know, I was doing my IMM marketing degree and everything else. Music allowed me to now be able to work even in those sectors as myself, you know, the musician, or use my music influence to do other things. So never give up, because that music will get you to be the sound engineer you want to be, or the producer, or the technical engineer that you want to be. Yeah.
I think an important thing is to remember to do it until you don't have to study, until you're making enough money that you can actually survive. I've had numerous artists that get one song playlisted on radio and they quit their day job. And I'm like, what are you doing? That's not going to be enough money. The beginning, the gigs are not enough money. When you are AKA, then the gig money is enough money. At the beginning, you're just hoping that you get enough money for petrol. You know, when you were at school, you went to school, you then did extramurals, and you had to go home and you did homework. It was all about time management. You can do the same now. You can go and study. It really is about time management until that point comes where you do not have to rely on your parents to give you food. You can afford to get your own place, etc., etc. through your music. But don't let it just slide because you perhaps have a track on radio and you've got a few gigs.
Yeah, because I think that's the surefire way of killing your career. Like, you're in a privileged position right now that no matter what you're studying and no matter what you're making as music, you're doing both of them. Always look for the balance, that even when the music is killing it, you're making an absolute fortune. Carry on learning. Keep working. Keep doing something else, because there's always something else to learn. I mean, if there's one thing that, like, we've all said tonight is, like, research this stuff. Learn about it. And while you're learning something now that may not necessarily have to do with music, it all has to do with music, because it's your message. It's what's influencing you. And right now, I think you found the balance. I think you're doing it, man. Keep at it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Please give a shout out to your panelists here on the stage. Okay, no problem. And what's a Start Something event without someone on stage that's going to start something? So we're going to have 2 performances tonight. We're going to have Myth, and we're going to have Raw Bars. All right. Thank you, guys. No, of course, guys. I need you guys to get on your feet. I need you guys to support. I need you guys to listen to the music that we have, guys. Come on. Okay, we got DJ